Good evening, Wakulla County Commission. Doing it a little bit differently this evening. You may notice we have the gavel here. It will soon return to its appropriate place, but here it will rest while we go through some of the activities that we have before us. The first thing, just a couple of opening comments, and actually we're going to go to Pastor James Bridwell to deliver the opening prayer. Pastor, could you come forth?
Let us rise. Let's pray. God, our Heavenly Father, we come today and we want to recognize first your presence among us and tell you how thankful we are for that, for the mercy that you give us every day, for the mercy that you've given these men and women to govern your people. God, I thank you that you are with them. And God, I pray that as they are tempted in many ways, as we all are, that your wisdom would guide them and that you would help them to perform their offices to the glory of your kingdom and for the benefit of your people. God, bless these proceedings. Help them to be honorable and pleasing to you. May the comments made be done in love, and may the appointments be done with true respect and admiration for you, your office, and the men you placed there. We ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Join in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I really have nothing prepared, but I do want to say this. It is such a pleasure and a privilege to serve all of you, and I hope there are many dignitaries in the audience, and we have a new commission. This is an exciting time, but it's good that we can all come together, remember the things that have made us who we are, and make this a wonderful community to live in. And I'll just tell you, as my time draws short, what a pleasure and a privilege it's been. And remember the great people who serve, both here on the dais and also day to day in the county offices. It's been an honor to work with you, and it's quite fun to see you all here tonight. It is my pleasure and privilege to introduce Judge Joe Walker, who will take this gavel and will swear in our newly elected commissioners. Judge?
Thank you. Yes, I put on the cape and here I am. All right, it's nice to see you all tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I would like to begin with the oath for Commissioner Merritt. So, Commissioner Merritt, if you please come forward. And do we have to talk? Yes. Do you have? Oh, you know what? I can say it all, and you could just say yes. I like commissioners that do that. All right. Do you have anybody else here that you wanted in the picture?
I get my youngest daughter, but take your chicken out.
She slips down. All right, so if you would raise your right hand to be sworn. Let's get Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and the state of Florida, and that you are duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state, and that you will well and faithfully perform the duties of the office of County Commissioner on which you are now about to enter? So
I do. Thank you very much. I'm very excited to start this new chapter of my life, and I'd like to thank my wife, Lori, daughters, Devin, Jordan, and Denham. Had to share a little embarrassment with them, and I really look forward to getting to work, and I appreciate everyone's support. Thank you very much.
All
right, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll move to Commissioner Moore. Commissioner, if you come forward, is there anybody you'd like to have in the...
Probably my wife.
Okay.
Or you, girl.
So if you raise your right hand, you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and the state of Florida, and that you are duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state, and that you will well and faithfully perform the duties of the office of County Commissioner on which you are now about to enter, so help you God.
I do.
I would like to thank everybody who supported me, all the people who voted for me, especially my wife who worked so hard with me. And I will try not to take but just a moment, but I thought this was sort of very important to me. I will represent all the people of Wakulla County to the best of my ability. And contrary to a letter in the paper, I will never support a bottled water plant in Wakulla. The life of the estuary depends on fresh water today and tomorrow. The farmers to our north in Georgia and the cities to our south all want our fresh water, and we must protect it at all costs. And the voters have told me over the last 7 months they want less government interference in their daily lives. They want less rules and regulations. They want a smaller, less expensive government. They want a government that supports jobs and provides a balance between jobs and the environment. And ladies and gentlemen, hear me well. That is exactly the way I'm going to vote. I am your representative. Thank you.
Congratulations, Commissioner Moore. All right, now, at this time, I'm going to ask the board to conduct the election for the 2010-2011 chairman and vice chairman, and at this time, I would call for nominations for chairman.
I nominate Mike Stewart for chairman.
Second.
All right. And how about nominations for vice chairman? And
I nominate Alan Brott.
Second.
okay, that's okay. Very good. So at this time, I would like to go ahead and administer the oath to the chairman then, and if you could please come forward. Oh, that's right. I'm not used to voting. You know, we don't vote in my world. I just rule. I've ruled you to the chairman. So go ahead, you conduct the vote.
All for the motion? Opposed?
Good about the democratic process. All right, very good. So if you would raise your right hand and you solemnly swear that you will and shall faithfully execute the duties of the office of chairman of the Wakulla County Board of County Commissioners to the best of your ability, so help you God.
I do. Thank you very much.
Thank y'all. Just quickly, I'm honored to do this. This is my 10th year as a commissioner in Wakulla County, and I love this job. As painful as it is, sometimes it's worth the effort. And I thank all of you for having the faith and confidence in me, the board, and I hope I serve you well. And we're embarking on a new chapter in Wakulla County's history, and I think that's important. So, thanks again.
All right, and so now we'll entertain the vote on the vice chairman. I'll say aye. They're in agreement. Aye. All right, very good. Come on down.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate your vote of confidence. I look very much forward to serving in this capacity. And thank you to everyone who's come out here today. I can't stress how important it is that as many people participate in the civic process as possible. And I look forward to serving with our board in the new capacity. Thank you.
All right, can we do a formal photo opportunity at this point and just take a pause here to get the pictures?
We need to come together some, or we'll...
I guess they worked out the position. I have trouble hearing in this ear. So I have stuff over here.
We got everything else out of him, he might as well give his DNA, so...
Yeah, so that's with us.
Everybody ready? 1, 2, 3, Wakulla.
Okay.
Actually, it's both of our pleasure to turn the floor over to the new chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. And Judge, thank you for taking the time to administer those. We're welcome to the new commissioners, and we have one item of business tonight that's been agendaed, and that's the request for approval of the county administrator transition plan actions, including selection and appointment of an interim county administrator. Let me just get everybody up to speed where we are after last night's meeting, and I think make sure you understand why we did what we did and where we are. Last night's meeting, Mr. Kessler suggested hiring Tim Barden internally to move up as the acting county administrator while we figure out where we're going to go down this road and what we want the qualifications to be. And Tim has accepted that appointment and will begin such immediately and officially on December 1st as a sort of a transition this next couple of weeks between he and Ben. And then Ben's time will be finished on November 30th, and we wish him well. And on December 6th, we're going to have a little soiree here for him and do something special. So that's where we are, and I want to make sure you two new commissioners knew where we were, and hopefully we can watch it on TV. Move ahead with where we are now.
More seats over here for those.
Yes, we got some more seats, folks. If y'all want to come in, please don't worry about coming across the front here. It's fine. Let everybody get inside. If we can, move in. If there's any seats that we can make for folks, that's good. And thank all of you for coming. I appreciate it. I want to recognize one person before we move on in the audience, and that's George Green. Would you stand, please, George? Just give George a hand. Again, I appreciate you. He even came in today and worked. He didn't have to. He was done. And it's amazing the hours he logged, I'm sure more than any of us all put together in the 4 years he was here in that office. And I thank you for that. I know the citizens do. So thank you for your service again. With that said, if we want to move on now, we need to just talk about where we want to go with the process. Ben, if you want to try to lead us into some discussion about how to get, I know Heather has provided us with some input, you've provided us with some input, but we need to sort of open it all together now.
Sure, I'll kick it off and turn it over to Heather as well for her comments. I prepared a memo a couple weeks ago, and the new commissioners received it as well. Basically, commissioners, you know, this process can be as elaborate as you may want it to be. The process that led to my hire was approximately 9 months, I believe, or it can be relatively brief as well. My process had a citizen committee. That would be a touch point. But really, the first thing that you're going to do, regardless, the first decision that you have to make is whether or not you want a recruitment firm to assist you, or whether you wish to go through the county HR. My personal read on this is that the county human resources staff capacity is sufficient. Not speaking ill of the professional recruiters who are out there. You will find that many county city managers pay a lot of deference to them because they serve as middlemen for us getting jobs in the future. That being said, I'm getting out of county management, so I can tell you I don't think you need to spend the 25 grand on them, to be quite blunt. I think that this is a good job market. I think there are a number of talented individuals in our own county, quite frankly, and certainly in our region that if this was open and competitively advertised, and which is the type of recruitment I think you would want to engage in, you're going to get excellent interest. That would be my expectation. Coming interim County Administrator Tim Barden has expressed that he's not interested in the job permanently, and I mentioned that to tell you that if he was, I would have been talking about that, but he's expressed that he's not. That does allow for a bit of a cleaner process and a very smooth transition. So let me conclude my remarks. The transition from myself to your interim administrator is going to be seamless, as you would expect it to be, as it should be. That's exactly the system that we set up. So that will be, you are not going to sense any difference there whatsoever. Mr. Barden and this very capable team of professionals that you have in this county will sustain for as long as you want this process to take. And I'm very confident of that, and you should be as well. I think it is reasonable to expect that this will take from the time that you start here tonight until the time there's someone besides Mr. Barden actually sitting in this chair, easily, quickly, that will be 4 months' time, I think, 3 to 4 months' time, or as long as, probably in this case, 6 to 7 months. But there's reasons for that. So let me walk through the process. You give the direction to advertise in accordance with state law and the county charter. There is a pay classification for the position of county administrator. There are certain desires, based on what the job entails. I think it would be reasonable to expect that would be out on the street, quote unquote, or open for applications for a period of about 6 to 8 weeks. Then that would close. If this board then does not want to have a review committee, if you want to serve as your own review committee, which is very normal to do, because ultimately you are going to be the supervisor of this position, then you would all get copies of those applications and resumes. You would probably go through a public process where you would shortlist to get down to a reasonable number of folks that you can agree on. Hey, this is a handful of our top stars. And then, similar to what occurred with me at the time of the last cycle, you'd bring those folks in for both one-on-one interviews with you individually, and then a public a public question and answer session in a notice meeting. And that's, at a very high level, that's how I would see this proceeding. See what I've left out here.
I think tonight what we need to go through is I've given you all a proposed draft advertisement, because that's really what we'd be doing here, is placing an ad. I emailed it to you, but I'll...
I did bring it.
There you
We
go.
have hard copies of all this stuff. This is unique tonight, and if we don't, but you did mail it too.
That's okay. That's because I sent it out and it didn't go through the normal agenda process. If it had, you would have had a copy. But what I'd like to at least get a discussion going tonight is sort of what qualification criteria would you like to see in your new administrator? What salary range? You have an established salary range. obviously, if you want to put the whole range in your ad, you're fine. If you'd like to set a different, we need to discuss that. What sort of benefits, if any, do you want to mention in the ad? And then, like Ben said, what is the process? I would assume that you'd want to do local newspaper ads and then ads in some of the regional publications or online services, such as the Florida Association of Counties, the Florida League of Cities, and the Florida City County Managers Association. My thought on that is if you don't get a good pool of applicants after that, you can always broaden your search. You can always go to a recruitment firm after that. So these are some decisions that we're looking for input on tonight. And then I agree with Ben that you'd want to leave it open. You'd probably leave it open until filled in your ad, but, say for first selection, get your resume into HR by, 6 to 8 weeks after the ad starts to post. And then I did check with Ms. DeBoe today, and she's on, most of these ads can go out and will be posted almost immediately. So your process, once you get your ad finalized and you guys come to a conclusion on what you'd like to see, it can begin immediately. If you did want to go to like National Association of Counties and things like that, there is a much longer lead time. But that's, I think, things we can probably take up in the future if need be. So if you want to start talking about qualifications, that may be a good starting point.
I'd like to start talking on it. I guess, did everybody get this email from Heather about the qualifications? It has several blanks to be filled in, and starting on the second paragraph, I think I agree with everything on the first paragraph, which basically describes the job. Second paragraph gives a salary range. I think we should set that at what the salary range is currently, but with the caveat that the anticipated salary, I would say, would be the minimum salary. That's just my opinion. $75,500, I think, is what the minimum salary is. We don't want to mislead anyone into thinking they're going to come making $110,000 a year when I don't think that's the sentiment out there in the public. As far as benefits go, I would say the benefits would be the same as any other full-time county employee, no more, no less. That includes health insurance, whatever full-time benefits all the other employees enjoy. It gives years of experience you're looking for with a degree. I'd say 5 years related experience is just my personal opinion. Without a degree, maybe 10 years experience.
Hey, let's slow down because we need to. Let's take.
I do talk fast.
I know. We need to take one issue at a time. Let's back up and. Randy, if you don't mind, let's just back up a little bit. Okay. The first thing you talked about was the salary. Let's try to all agree or disagree on that about the minimum. You suggested that the starting pay be at the minimum.
Yes.
We advertise it as such, so there's no false expectation that it would be any more than that.
Similar to what other county jobs I have seen, the salary range is this to this, but the anticipated salary is this.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, what some of the other jurisdictions commonly do, if you don't want to get locked into a number, I mean, you do want to give the range. I think that's a good idea. And I think they're understanding where the board may be going. Frequently what you'll find is there's usually a line, something to the extent of you're commensurate with experience, however, you don't anticipate the starting salary more than 10% or 20% above the minimum. It gives you flexibility as well.
What Ben said.
I agree, because I hear what you're saying, but if we back ourselves into that corner where we don't have some flexibility and we have a person that we really want that would work for 80 or 85, then we'd almost not be able to hire them because
that's fine. I just didn't want to put out there's this $110,000 county job out there, and then you know what I'm saying.
Well, let's get through the board. Everybody having their comments about that, and then we'll move on to the next item. We'll start down here with Lynn.
Just so the public knows that the current salary range is $75,000 minimum, maximum is $124,245. I think I'm in agreement with most of what I've heard. It makes sense to put the whole range in, indicate that we're not set expectations too high, that we're looking at the low end, but give us some flexibility. So
Okay. Jerry?
Jen, I hope I'm not asking you an embarrassing question, but basically, what is your base salary?
Not embarrassed at all. The base salary currently is $105,000.
That is your base
Now, I do have to say, and it was budgeted this way, just to know what your own range is. I did have a healthy benefit package that was above and beyond just the normal what is offered to county employees. So if you factor that in, it would probably be a line or akin with 110 or maybe slightly better than that.
My opinion on what I've heard in the last 7 months is that people want less government, less expense. I would probably not go along with anything less than a 15% reduction in that 105.
Well, mine's certainly below that.
Well, I would be that level or below. We just can't go forward spending the kind of money that we have been, and that's no disrespect for the people who are here. We have an opportunity now to make changes, and we should make changes, and this is pretty hard times, and I think we would probably have quite a few people who would like to have a job.
Okay. Alan?
I agree with what's being said. I was going to say start with the minimum being 75, and when I made my notes, I'd said to 100, anticipating it being somewhere around 85 or 90.
Okay, now hearing all that, I did a little figuring here with Randy's idea and what everybody else has said. If we set it at 75,000 and make it 20% above that, that would bring it to 90,000. So, is that a adequate range or no?
I think it is.
That's 15% below probably 105.
Yep. Yes, it is.
I need some clarification.
It would be from 75,000 to 90,000.
Instead of using what's in the manual for his pay rate, we'll make our own pay rate, keeping the same number, but lowering the maximum.
Okay, I think the attorney said there was going to be, if we wanted to do that, if something was going to be required. If we wanted to adjust the pay range, which is...
That would be the discussion, and I don't think we have to. I think we...
You can state in your ad the range, or you could state in your ad what you expect or anticipate paying. And if you want to say, I think it's 75.3 is the minimum, and up to 90 is what you would anticipate paying. That's the wording I would probably use, is anticipate.
I would like the caveat that Ben was saying, though, that it's going to be closer to 75, of course, than it is to 90. Whatever language you would use, anticipating, around that.
Well, that gives us some room to negotiate with whoever our top 3 are, or 2, or whatever. If we get down to whoever we're going to hire, then that gives us the flexibility to negotiate a salary.
That's fine.
Now, trying to hold it on the 75 end, but we may not be able to get the right person for 75. It may take 80 or 90, and that's why we have that variable.
I like the phrase about commensurate with experience, because I don't want to discourage more experienced people from applying. And I'd like to hear from Ben and Heather, how, in your honest opinion, are we going to lose some top candidates by that range? I'm just asking.
You will, by my estimation, you will lose urban candidates, if I can be blunt, because in urban areas people are paid more. I mean, it's that simple. I don't think you're going to lose who I have come to know in the last 4 years as being very qualified and competent people in our community. And I would even say in this region, that pay range, you're gonna get talented people. You're not gonna get PA and Anita. I mean, you're not gonna get folks who have managed $200 million plus organizations, and I mean, so depending on what your definition of top, qualified people, I'll tell you straight up, but they probably wouldn't have applied anyhow. I mean, I think given the economy, I think you're going to get a good turnout for that.
Okay. All right, so if we can agree on that, we'll move to the next item, which let's talk about benefits. I want to hear what everybody has to say, and Randy, you suggested leaving the benefits at what every other employee gets.
Exactly. I'm curious. I'm not really aware. How would you? What other benefits would be suggested, or how would you advertise them? I think I would use language like that. Yeah.
I think you use it as a negotiating tool when you get your person you want, if you want to do that. I mean, you talk about a cell phone,
Cell card,
lots of other things that you can offer, but
you wouldn't put it in the ad anyhow. I think that would almost be something you don't have to cover in the ad. It would be something, but you want it to be
I wanted
added.
to exclude that.
You do, okay.
Yes, like the additional, no offense, beneficial, deferred comp, things like this that cost money. I want, my opinion now, again, just my opinion, whoever we're going to hire, there are plenty of people out there that can do this job, I can assure you. I don't think we need that carrot out there to get a qualified person in here.
I agree with you.
And it's expensive, and that's my opinion.
okay.
I would use language of, like, you know, I'm trying to think of the sentence I've seen before, something like, there's a lot of saying there are good benefits for this job.
Oh, absolutely. I think what we could do, depending, is, please contact Wakulla County Human Resources for a list of the healthy benefits package available to all county employees.
I think we could say
like that.
standard language like insurance, deferred comp,
Absolutely.
standard state or county employee
FRS.
benefits.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Jerry?
I tend to agree with one of the things that people fail to realize. If you have a benefit package that includes insurance, if you're a private individual, insurance is going to cost you $10,000-$12,000 a year, and that is like an $18,000 salary that you have to make to pay that $10,000 benefit. So a $10,000 benefit is an $18,000 salary. So you tack $18,000 on. You give a person insurance benefits, just the insurance. You put that on top of 85. That same person would have to earn 105 in the real world to be able to pay for that and still have his 85. So,
Yeah, I guess I like the idea of we can talk about a standard package of benefits, whatever, but I like the idea of that being negotiable. And one thing I just so y'all think about this perspective. I hear you loud and clear that we need to cut county expenditures. But you need to get a good top person who can help you figure out how to do that. And so rather than save $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 at this level, bring in a really sharp person who can find the tens and, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 here, there, and other places. That's just something to keep in mind. I don't want us to, I'd rather get a big pool and then try to negotiate, see who we really want, and maintain our flexibility than be too hard-lined on the front end. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
I'll stick with mine on that one.
I think the consensus is that we advertise it as such that it's just the base benefits. Call if you want to find out more, but I think we need to hold that in our pocket.
And I agree with Ms. Arch. Now, the stellar candidate or whatever, we don't want to preclude from being able to offer that, but I don't want necessarily to advertise, you're going to get, free deferred comp, you're going to get this, you're going to get that. Just, you get, this position offers normal county benefits.
Just hold that in our pocket to be able to negotiate as a tool to entice maybe that candidate is just on the edge of that we want. So, okay, so we can leave that one. Randy, what was the next thing you had on your list here?
I got 2 or 3 more things.
One at a time.
The one with the bachelor's degree, I believe 5 years related experience is sufficient. And there's a line, if you don't have a degree, I think 10 years of relevant experience. That's just my opinion.
If you hold a bachelor's degree, 5 years of related, a non-degree, you can have 10 years of related experience with...
These are blank lines on this form I'm just filling in.
And we're going in that direction. We'll start back down here, Lynn.
Okay, I'm not following. I see minimum qualifications including a bachelor's degree. I don't see an exemption.
Go to the fourth sentence down in that paragraph, the word starts with field.
You may not have the most current version. It goes down, yeah. Do you have blanks?
No, hers, that's one you need to be looking at, the one Jerry has.
Okay, but it's still...
Ben, as someone coming from administration while Lynn's looking, I'm just going to ask a quick question. What would be the standard language for hire county administrator as far as experience goes? How many years are you looking for?
For an organization of this size, I think the standard language would be similar to what Commissioner Mira...
Whatever you think is the best.
Honestly, I'm trying to think back to when I came here. I think usually you will see 5 or 10. Sometimes it's 10 with a bachelor's, 15 without, and here's another additive. Is a master's preferred? You know, a master's in public administration or a related field. A lot of times in the more progressive communities, it will say master's degree is preferred.
I would agree with maybe substituting a year or two of experience for a master's degree. You'll see that a lot of times.
The other thing, and I don't know, it might be later on, is just thinking this thing through. So if it was 10 years with a bachelor's degree, 15 years without. Masters, whether you prefer it or not, and the other thing is how many years of prior city-county management are you expecting? Now, for regional, national searches, it's very common to see, we want you to have at least 5 years of city-county management in a similar or like-sized community. If you're focusing in more locally, there's only one of these jobs or 2 or 3 to go around, that wouldn't be something you would put. I'm just sort of being blunt here, but you wouldn't put that in. But think that through. That's common vernacular in the trade magazines.
Then the wording in this, as I'm reading it, doesn't mention at all needing government or county or city experience, which I think is a good idea. That gives us a chance maybe to talk to some people that don't necessarily need someone that's a current government employee. Maybe it'd be better to bring someone in from the private sector. I don't know. And I like the wording of this as Heather wrote it right now, to be honest with you, other than striking the last sentence out, so I guess we'll get to that later.
Okay. Alan?
I can go with either 10 and 5 years, or 5 and 10 years, or 15, 10 and 5, giving it the 15 without a bachelor's, 10 with a bachelor's, 5 with a master's.
That's fine with me.
Okay, so say that again, 15 with none, 10 with a 4-year, and 5 with none, 5 with a master's. Okay, Jerry?
Basically, I think we're saying that unless you have a degree, that you would not be able to run a county. And I pretty much disagree with that. I don't think a degree is anything. A degree doesn't make you smart. It's a good thing to have, but it's in my opinion, if we had a person who could convince the board, and that's not just me. If we have a person who could convince the board that they can do this job, and it's a matter of passion. If you have a job, you can do it mediocre. But if you have passion, there's hardly anything that you cannot do. So I would hate to put this out to where that no one could come in that didn't have a degree somehow. I would still like to hear from that person. So however you do that.
If I can, Jerry offered it. I mean, we've said that if you don't have a degree at all, you need to have 15 years of some sort of associated experience leading.
I would back that up to, say, 10. You can have 15 years of experience and still not know anything.
Now, speaking to someone with a master's degree, I can assure you that doesn't mean you're smarter.
That's correct.
You want to vote on that, or?
It's a no-brainer.
We've all been to school.
Lynn?
I liked what Alan, I guess, had suggested of 5, 10, and 15.
Okay. All right, So we need to compromise here somewhere, folks, and agree on, we got a difference, so.
Let's split the difference in, 7 and 13 and a half.
So with a 4-year degree, how many years we want to agree on? Tell me a number.
I like 5, but
With a degree.
Alan's got 10, so.
I can go along with 5. If you have a 4-year degree.
I like 10, so that's
With a 4-year degree, well, we just want to make sure people have enough experience to understand what different ideas, and that's all we're trying to ensure. Do you want to? We could do. You want to do 7?
Well, again, now, these are minimum qualifications. That doesn't mean if you have this, you get the job. It just means, don't bother applying for it if you don't have this. So that doesn't mean that if you have a degree in 5 years, well, you're hired. It just allows them to apply. We're going to decide who to hire, and we can make our own judgment call once we talk to that person.
So are you suggesting 5, 7, and 10?
Well, I suggest 5 with a degree, throw out the master's degree, 10 if you don't. And that's just the minimum. If you're more qualified, of course, apply.
I like the master's.
I agree. Let's leave the master's in there and make. Let's go with this. Let's do 5 years with a bachelor's, 10 years with a nothing, and
High school diploma.
yeah, and let's just leave it at 5 years for the master's as well. I mean, is that fine?
If Glenn wants to back it down for the master's to 3 years, that's fine too. It's just, again.
What do you want to do?
I think 3 years experience in management may not be enough to manage a 40 million like our county. I think 5 puts us.
Right, 5 for a master's. I guess it's the 5 for a bachelor's. I'd probably rather see that. Originally we said 10, and we were talking about 7. I'd probably rather see that a little higher than 5.
We'll put it at 7, 10, and 5. Or the other way, I guess the more appropriate way to put it would be 5, 7, and 10. Does that make sense, Heather?
That sounds good to me.
I'm trying to get you what you need to go away and write this thing.
That's a 10 with no degree.
And I'm sensing that the master's being preferred is not a line you want to see in there.
Right.
Because you do not want to discourage folks who do not have
Right.
it.
Most people don't have a master's
Like
degree.
Randy said, this is going to be the minimum.
I understand.
Don't bother putting your stuff in it. I mean, this pretty much puts everybody, if they got 10 years of experience and no degree, they can apply, so.
Anything, and I brought this up, Mr. Chairman, if I could, any value wish to be given for local government administration experience? Prior local government administration
I think
experience?
that's really valuable.
I would, sorry, Jiggly. I certainly wouldn't object to some word in there, but I don't want to say you must have it.
Required.
Maybe it's experience is preferred.
Preference.
Well, I mean, we have a line, and I don't know what line you want to see cut out, maybe the one, but it says the ideal candidate's Florida experience as an upper-level public manager in local government, including direct knowledge and proficiency with budgetary, procurement, and administrative-related functions.
That's the one I wanted to strike out.
That's also what you just said you wanted.
And the reason I wanted to strike that out is it almost seems like it's opening us up to a lawsuit. If we don't hire somebody that, look, I am the ideal candidate, why didn't you hire me? And you hired this person. I think some wording along those lines may be a little less strenuous, not saying, we're saying this is who we're looking for, the ideal candidate. Maybe we just say something with experience with local government management preferred or given preference, maybe something like along those lines, but not.
I don't want to leave you if that's not the board's.
I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who has studied it, lived it, and breathed it, yes, that is something that I would look for in an advertisement. But I don't want to leave you that way if that's not something that you want to focus on.
Jerry?
My personal opinion is that I want to stay local. We have a lot of intelligent, smart, bright people here in the county, and these folks have a passion for the county. They live here, they've lived here. They have a real passion. They're not just passing through, and that has no been. That's okay. But if it were me, I would stay totally local. That may not be possible, but that's where I stand.
Ma'am?
I'm looking for the best candidate, and I don't know that others of you share this interest, but if you're interested in cutting expenditures, one thing that I really think we have to look at is energy expenditures. And, you know, Florida ranks 30th in the nation in terms of energy efficiency and conservation. And among counties and local governments and within this county, that's not our forte. And so if we're serious about cutting money, we need somebody who knows about energy efficiency and conservation. And that's where you're going to have trouble finding, you know, in this state, in this region, even in this county. I probably said that backwards. So I want to look at who's out there. And we have a local preference for hiring. It's something we can factor when we make our decision, but I don't want to exclude people until I find out who can best do the job for us.
That's exactly what I've been trying to get at. It's not excluded.
Do you want to, in the sentence as it's written right now, I think if you strike the word local from it, you have a lot of people who live in Wakulla County who have government experience at the state level and in the region. That's one idea, a suggestion that still talks about, and I think it's still, and Heather can also attest to this, I'm sure. She can make sure that however this is written, we can avoid, she can do a best job to help us avoid losing the lawsuit if someone decides to challenge who we hire.
Well, not to drag this out too much again, but most people don't work for the government. Most people work for private industry. And I speak from personal experience. When I was hired to run the Public Works Director, I had no experience supervising anybody. And I think I did a good job for 8 years. So I don't want to exclude someone just because they don't have government experience. There's a lot of good people. There's probably more that don't work for government.
Let's get back to where we started. I think we got off on some rabbit trails, but
Strike the last sentence. That's where I'm at.
does that give you enough clarity on what to do?
Well, I liked what you said before about preference. At least indicate there's a preference for somebody with local government experience. I mean,
Okay.
I've come to appreciate how tough his job is.
Yeah, I like to. Yeah, I think it's going to be important when you take over it's a little over $40 million managing grants during the budget process. Our budget process is ridiculous, and it's stuff we don't have much influence over. The state's pretty much said how it has to go on. You want somebody who comes in and understands it. Or we're going to have to spend a year training the person.
Let's not forget we have an OMB office too, though.
Right, I know. I do. I do know. So.
Okay. So can we agree that local government preference is to be included? Okay. I think that's a head nod. Okay. Next item.
All right. I'd like to see not having a contract for the next county administrator. Be an employee.
Heather just said, we're not sure if that needs to go in the ad. I'll just say, it is very common for a chief executive or a chief administrative official to have a contract, and now that's more common when you're relocating, because of course when I took this job, I had a 6-month-old and a house and a family and a secure job and the nine. And I took a leap of faith, but I wanted to make sure there was some protection. Should I get down here and the board determined, it just isn't working out, which is fine. That does happen sometimes, but that's where from the people that may be applying, to some people that becomes an impasse type of an issue. To others it won't.
Best to not mention it then at all. That's fine with me.
Hold on, Jerry, go ahead.
I think basically, I think you would have to have a contract. And the reason being is Joe Jones has a great job now, but yet he can do this job. And Joe is going to have to quit that job to take this job, and he's flying on a wing and a prayer that we don't send him packing. Well, he just lost the other job, and he just lost this job, and now he's out on whatever. So, but in that same token, we have to have a good exit strategy. We can give that person a contract, but yet we have to have an exit strategy that doesn't cost us anything.
That's what the point I was trying to get to. It doesn't cost us if we don't get along.
But that's something we can do further down the road, where we negotiate with.
That's fine.
Okay, what's the next item?
That's it.
That's it for you.
Applications received by 2/1 is my idea, February 1st. And maybe that's not realistic, but I think we need to move quickly to get someone on board. That gives the HR time to advertise wherever they want to advertise. But anyone that has a computer knows they can get on Google and look up county administrator jobs, and they'll be there.
Let's talk about how long we want to advertise, and I think we can bring that all in one item, because you need to know that. That's one of the things I wrote down here for us to do. Where do we want to advertise and for how long? So, discussion on that, Lynn.
You're not always going to start with me, are you?
You're on the left.
Okay, start down with Randy then.
All right. I'd say we start advertising Monday if possible, and advertise till February 1st. Tallahassee Democrat, I think we can. Wakulla News, I don't know. I think everybody around here pretty much knows there's an administrator job open. I'd leave it up to Debbie as far as advertising through the periodicals for the managers. I don't want to spend, I'm not going to say any money, but I certainly don't want a search committee. I think Debbie is more than capable of determining where the best place to place the ad. And Debbie, does that give you time to do that?
It does, but I wanted to make you aware that an ad just so you know, an ad in the Sunday's edition of the Tallahassee Democrat will probably run you $1,300 or $1,400.
I don't think it has to be that large an ad.
We can cut it down.
Yeah, let's cut it.
Wanted county administrator?
Yeah, in a one ad.
We can put it in the Tallahassee Advertiser, they're free. Something, Democrat, I'd say at a minimum, and I'd assume that they would, just by advertising with the Democrat, would probably put it on the internet. I know that's how it works for a car ad anyway. I don't know. But I'd leave it up to Debbie.
We could direct them to our website too, through the ad.
Yes.
So we could put the whole advertisement on our website.
That would accomplish Miss Art's goal of, it'd be worldwide then. So,
Okay.
and it wouldn't cost us an arm and a leg.
Alan?
I'd like to see us advertise with the appropriate magazines for Association of Counties. I'd like to see us advertise with the counties of records papers in the area, if possible. But that means I'm not sure. I mean, up through the 5 or 6 counties around us.
I think the Democrat and the Wakulla News would cover your target audience.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Word of mouth, not to mention that.
so far we got the Democrat, the website, Wakulla News, and the Florida Association of Counties. I agree that that's a good one. Jerry?
Mr.
Haskins.
Mr. Haskins, please excuse me. I only met 15,000 people, but I met you most of all. Does your magazine go out beyond the county there?
Well, it goes to the east side, goes to Woodville and in that area.
You wouldn't object to us not using your magazine?
No, I would not at all.
Folks, I'm a stay local person. My soul is stay local, and we're going to stay local if I have anything to do with it.
Okay. Lynn?
Okay, I agree with the local papers, the Democrat. I like the three that Heather suggested, FAC, the Florida League of Cities, and the Managers Association. I would also like to include NACO, the National Association of Counties, at least through their online or whatever kinds of things can be done.
I would assume if they're like most websites, they have a classified or job area where you can enter an ad.
They do. The last time I tried to run an ad with them, you had to give them like a 4-week lead time. But I will check on that and let you know.
We've got plenty of time.
Okay. All right, so we'll give you enough.
So I'm going to say the position will be open until filled, but for first preference, have your application in by February 1.
Yes, that's what February 1. Okay. What other issues, Alan? Anything else? Let me just go down this list I got here, and then I'll ask all of you if we've missed anything. I don't want to. Personally, I don't want to use a recruitment firm. I think Debbie is more than qualified to do what we need to do, and with the attorney's help, we'll. Is that fine with everybody?
Yep.
Okay. Hiring committee. I strongly recommend that this body right here, be the hiring committee, period. We like Ben suggested, if we get 100 applicants, each of us get all 100 applicants, and then we'll get some direction. I will provide some direction with the help of the staff to get a form that we can all take home and sit down at our leisure and read through them and narrow down our top candidate. And then each one of us come in here with a top candidate.
Or top. I assume we'll distill these 100 down to maybe 5, because we'll want to obviously interview the people.
Exactly. We'll narrow it down, but I want to, in the end, I want to come back here with one candidate each, and then let's hash that out. Have a time where we bring them in and interview them, and we can do that in phases. We can, get the top 10, top 5, whatever it is, bring them in, interview them, have another session, and end up with each having the top 1. Where we can narrow it down to.
And we don't necessarily have to decide on the methodology tonight, obviously.
No, we'll do that later. And I think I'll work as a chairman with the staff and bring us back something to do that with.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I agree completely about having this board be the review committee, but I wonder if it would be helpful also to have an advisory committee from among county staff who would know some things to look for that we may have limited ability to recognize, and give a recommendation so that they would review the applications and give us their rankings or their recommendations to consider.
I don't think Ben is going to be here when that.
The only I completely understand where you're going, Commissioner. The only staff person that I would want to expose to that would be me, because I'm leaving. I don't want to put Tim or Debbie in the position where they say, Fred is great, and then you hire George. And George comes in on day one and says, oh, you like Fred, did you? And so, I think the staff, and I hope this staff will serve whomever you decide to choose very well. And I think that certainly they'll be here to respond to any questions you may have as you go through your thought process. But I would really almost beg that you don't ask them to put in writing preferences on your candidates. Jerry?
Maybe you could do this. Maybe you could give us 5 points that we should look at.
Sure.
Just give us.
I will offer to craft a memo if you'd like. I'm happy to do that.
Just give us points that we may not be aware of.
I think that's a really good idea. Some general qualifications to look for, questions to ask.
Yeah. Sure. I'd be happy to help.
That's a good idea. And again, let me interrupt here, man. I want, especially you two new guys, is that whatever decisions you decide after you start ranking is go in and sit down with Tim and say, all right, here's what I got, or with the attorney, and what do y'all think? I mean, that's what I do every day, and I ask for their advice. Sometimes I like it, and sometimes I don't, and but I always take it and melds it with mine, and that's, end up with a good decision, I think. So, anyway, I want to make sure you
Mr.
feel free to
Chairman?
do that.
Just real quick, and this may have been on your list, I apologize if it was, but we were just talking here. I would recommend that you make it a requirement that folks complete a county application.
Oh, yeah.
Is it sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's a cover letter and a resume. And they sure can do that in addition too, but I just wanted to make sure there was a head nod on that.
I agree.
think that's okay.
I agree. Okay, now, Heather, you need to, what other information you need to bring all this together? Is that enough information for now to get us something ready to go out? And you'll provide it to us to approve before we send it out. Is that what we're going to do, or do we need to do that? I don't want to do that. I want us to agree tonight to get it out.
I think I have enough information. I was just going to draft it and send it to Debbie.
Just copy us whatever you're going to send. I don't want to come back here and vote on it again.
I think the chairman understands what we're getting at. Maybe you could just let him look at it before it's run. I think he understands.
And we'll do that in the way of a motion here in a minute, but Lynn, you had a question.
Yeah, just some real minor things. First, when you say full service Charter County, what is the full service? I mean, what, is that important to be in there? I'm just asking.
You can wordsmith it however you want. It's just some verbiage. When we need to fill in general information about the county, there's still a lot of stuff to pull in there.
Okay.
That was me putting my personnel hat on, which I don't wear very often.
Say rural North Florida, Charter County.
And I would probably mention Tallahassee, south of Tallahassee. Some people might not know exactly county names. It's just a suggestion. And maybe 2 small municipalities. It's not like we have huge cities.
Put in there, if you go 5 miles south of here, you'll fall off the face of the earth, and you'll figure it out. Okay, so anyway, any other, Lynn, do you have any others? That's it? Heather, anything else? Board, any more comments?
One more I'm sorry, you go. On the parentheses, it says insert some information related to the county, its annual budget, physical constraint, bedroom community, etc. Heather, are you going to come up with something for that, or can we assign Mr. Stewart to come up with something for that? Just describing the county, basically, is what it is.
Draft from the budget.
Yeah, well,
Okay, and Mike could maybe look at that for, okay, that's,
I just didn't have that handy
That's
when I
fine.
was sitting at my computer doing it.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion now to incorporate all these things and task the county attorney to draft, and I'd like for you to include that to authorize me to work with her and make sure that goes out in a timely fashion.
so moved.
I have a
Second.
motion by Mr. Brock. And a second by Ms. Arts. Okay, any more discussion? Do we have any citizens to be heard? No?
When you have the final version of the ad, could you circulate that just to the commissioners, please? Thank you.
I'm gonna go way out on a limb here. Are there any, because we didn't advertise that you could speak, but are there any citizens that would like to be heard on this matter? Come on up to the mic if you would, sir. Tell us who you are and where you live, and
Spell check.
I just got a comment about, I'd like to see us not have a contract, but we could maybe have a 2-year, we're going to guarantee somebody 2 years unless it's really bad. I mean, I know that's kind of halfway a contract, but also it seemed like to me that we had talked about, well, I say we, y'all had talked about, that actually if you work for a corporation that you could be qualified. Sounded like what you finally said was that you're looking for government experience. I think you need to kind of reword it, is my thoughts, that, if you work for General Motors and you handle $300 million of funds, you'd be highly qualified. I think we really kind of talked about government experience, and I think we need to talk about just experience.
I think we said government experience preferred.
Not required, so it does not preclude someone from applying for the job.
Good.
If they don't have government experience,
I know.
which most people don't have.
And that's going to come later in the process, too.
Oh, yeah. also, I'm sorry, I did not say my name. My name is Garland Burdett, and I live here in Crawfordville. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Garland.
But anyway, that's all the comments I had.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing no one, all for the motion, say aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And that was,
Heather has an item.
I know we're going to go around here and see if anybody else has anything, but go ahead, County Attorney. Do you have anything?
You want to talk about? I have some problems.
Okay, we're going to get to you. Tell her what she needs to tell you. All right. All right, go ahead, Ms. Art.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about our meeting dates.
Okay, right.
The previous board had started out on Monday, moved to Tuesday, then went back to Monday. And
this is a limited call meeting, we
Okay, so
can't
we
go
can't do
into
that.
off.
I thought, well, you're right, we didn't advertise it, but we talked about it last night, so we're going to have to wait.
Let's talk about it on the
and
6th.
Agenda it. Okay.
Closing comments are next.
Closing comments. Any?
Well, welcome aboard, everyone.
Jerry?
Mr. Commissioner, since we can't talk on the outside or talk business anywhere, the people have told me they want short meetings. They don't want these meetings to go to 11 o'clock at night. We can't serve the public and the citizens if we carry them out to 11 o'clock.
And
We need to be able to get these meetings together and get on with it.
Let me just touch on that. I mean, there is some decorum that we got to use up here, and I would appreciate you guys. And I know that sometimes you feel like you're kind of hand strangled when you can't talk, but don't interject when somebody else has the floor. Let's be courteous and let them finish, and let me recognize you. That'll help, guys. I'm telling you, in the long haul here, to kind of keep everything reined in and keep us on track. And it's not that I'm trying to shut you up. I'm just trying to keep the meeting moving and in the right direction and focused. And again, I just ask that y'all work with me on that. And
I'm close enough, you can stop me.
Yes, sir. And we'll do fine. So.
You can put a shocker button on my seat if you want.
Okay.
Someone, I don't know if the county minister or the county attorney mentioned to me we need to discuss office space while you're here tonight. Did I make that up?
Yeah, I think it's okay. I think.
Okay, everyone's worked out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, on that, I also want to say happy birthday, Debbie. Today's her birthday. We talked about it a few times today, and just recognized her. And looking forward to the next 2 years.
Nothing from me. Said enough.
I hear motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'll make a second.
All for?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you all. Thank you.
We do have refreshments.